Hey beautiful souls, happy Friday. It's Tim in the Woods. It's week 51 of the Woodland Chronicles and we're nearly there. We're nearly at the end of the year. We're still in the solstice window, very much in the solstice window. Although everybody celebrated around the world with events, yesterday the official solstice alignment time was 3 o'clock in the morning UK time, and of course that'll be different wherever you are in the world, no matter what time, whatever space you're in. So we're on the other side of it now. We've integrated and put in place what needs to be structured for the next step of the journey. And David, Desiree and I celebrated with our usual solstice shindig last night, and it was a very, very powerful event, very powerful. And we watched in the final part of the meditation this incredible light structure being placed around the planet, which is being fueled by points of light from the higher realms. And this is going to be serving to really hold the frequency at a high level everywhere on this planet, even the dark, kind of like more resistant, dense, or what we'd consider the dingier parts of our world that are really not seeming to be stepping up and shifting into these higher frequencies. So where do we go from here? What's the next part of the operation? And we're looking very clearly at a year coming up that is going to be as fast moving as the one that we've just experienced, but I think we're all going to be feeling a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more prepared. At the beginning of this year, we were given very little warning, very little heads up about the pace and the intensity of what has felt like one long 12-month activation from start to finish. It has been absolutely unrelenting what we've experienced. And I used the analogy last night in the event of it feels a little bit, even the more seasoned among us feel a little bit like couch to 5k runners, you know, people that have just got off the sofa, doing a little bit of running, getting your miles in, all my legs are hurting but I can do this kind of thing, and all of a sudden we're grabbed by the scruff of the neck and dumped in an elite, a marathon event, and we got to keep up. That's what it's felt and what it's appeared to be like this year, but we've done it, we've managed it. And I always love the way that David manages to say stop and congratulate yourself when we're working in that way, because we need to do that, I believe. Now we've done this, now it's been implemented, now we're on the other side of this energy and we're just kind of relaxing into these incredible flowing downloads of Christ light. It's just stop, take a pause, deep breath into the heart, and just give yourself a well done. And self-love has been also mixed into this incredible kind of fast-moving ascension menu this year. The you know, like, and you might ask yourself, well, how do I implement self-love when my feet are barely touching the ground, when I'm struggling to be grounded, when I'm having an issue integrating these energies or dealing with the real world whilst navigating the ascension pathway? And this is all stuff that we have got to learn and that we are rapidly beginning to become fluent with as we move on. Now for episode 51, I want to look at something, I have mentioned this before, it might be regarded as maybe a touchy or slightly controversial topic amongst light workers, but I'm told that it's something that we need to be looking at, and this is coming from Serapis Bey himself, who deals very much hands-on with the soul contracts, with the upgrading process, the activation of light workers as they move from a state of sleepiness and inertia into active service. So for years and years and years, there has been a huge focus of attention on the Akashic records, almost like the golden shrine of the storage facilities for the spiritual community, where we go and retrieve our information. But I have touched upon this subject before several times. When we're working now, when we are retrieving sacred information, we aren't actually doing so from the Akashic records. We're reaching up further and higher into the halls of Amenti to recover our spiritual gifts and our talents. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with the term, or might have heard it and you don't really know where it is or what it represents, the halls of Amenti are a vast cosmic library. So, the halls occupy multiple dimensional spaces all around the cosmos. All of the beings of light who are working in their own capacity, adding to their own spiritual pathway, gathering knowledge, gathering information, creating, constructing, building, doing whatever we're doing. Anything that is discovered, anything that is of value, anything that can be used by another party to move forwards in any way, shape or form, is all stored in the halls of Amenti. So it's a shared facility, but it also has a very unique and individual take to it, because we all have our own master rooms. Now, the interesting piece of information that Serapis Bey gave me was that the Akashic records stopped recording for humanity at the cosmic moment. So on the 21st of December 2012, which was over, it's 11 years ago now, at that particular point when the Earth began to accelerate into this ascension process, into the 20-year window, we no longer recorded and stored our experiences, our knowledge, our gatherings of information where we did previously in the Akash. That stopped. So immediately, as we stepped up into a higher frequency, even though we didn't feel like we were doing it at the time, we began to place and record and access from a higher frequency. So I remember my first initial days of accessing the halls of Amenti, and it occurred in 2013. And I've told this story before. Some of you might remember it from earlier on in the year. I spent a considerable period of time waiting outside the halls of Amenti for my frequency to match the vibrational lock that I myself had placed upon my personal room, waiting to be able to re-access the information and the spiritual knowledge that I put away. Everything has changed in the last 10 years. Every single one of you listening to this will now have probably unlimited access to your master rooms, to the work that you have been doing previously, have done previously in past lives, and have placed away for yourself. So the important point that Serapis Bey was making was that, and we did this in a meditation last night, there was an actual physical detachment from continuously relying and accessing the Akashic records, and a movement into being more reliant, if that's a correct use of the word, in the halls of Amenti. So the definition of the Akashic records, according to Serapis Bey, is one to be accessed on a limited basis and only for the purposes of karmic balancing and clearing when absolutely necessary. So that was an important point that he made. So we go in there and we repair, we restore, we finalize, or we clear, or we alchemize things that we need to clear from our third dimensional past lives, most of which have been stored in the last 10,000 years. But that is pretty much the limit of what we need to be doing in there. And his emphasis on being more inclined to be heading in the direction of retrieving and working with the halls of Amenti was very much being encouraged. So as aspiring masters on the path of light, we are now being encouraged to move higher, to stop kind of looking lower and kind of sifting through our past junk, so to speak, and actually going for the stuff that we need to be retrieving, the fortification. Of course, we are going to need to be finalising our karmic clearing. That is an ongoing process, but it needs to be done on a controlled, needs to know basis. So, and I do remember a while back doing an actual workshop, stepping out of the Akash into the halls of Amenti. I will include the link on that because it's available in my Zoom library archive. If any of you are feeling inclined to have a look at that, it's I'll put that in the links. But so that's where we're going for next year, and who knows how fast it is going to move. It's going to be quick. Okay, so when we are when we're preparing for something like, say, the next point of interest will be, say, in bulk, there'll be very powerful energies around that, but the chances are we'll have already experienced and implemented any of the specific light coding that's coming in for that spiritual date before it's actually occurred. So we're walking we are walking activations. We're walking anchor points. Anything and everything that's coming in, we have already been privy to that frequency, because that is what we have basically guided ourselves and trained ourselves to do. And astrologically, there are going to be some significant forward moving shifts that we are going to see, that we are going to be witnessing around planet Earth next year. There are going to be what we are going to be seeing or perceiving as disruptions, but on a necessity level, disruption often has to occur to create balance. So where do we lie in that? Where do we sit in that? What's our specific role? How, as you are listening to me, are you feeling about your role next year? And again, this is something that David and I discussed last night. There is a much stronger sense of balance, of purpose amongst the light community. Say at the beginning of 2020, when we were hit by the incredible rolling changes that occurred around the world. I mean, they came from an angle that we weren't expecting. And although it was disguised very much as it appeared on the surface to be dark, everything that occurred during that period of time worked for the light, because it served to wake up millions upon millions of light workers to be able to see from a higher frequency. So everything that we've experienced that we would regard as challenging and hard has served to wake us up further, to clear the third eye, to restore the harmony within the chakra system, the balance, the willingness to be in connection with nature, with Mother Earth, to really know what we want. Okay, next year, as we're moving into it, although all of these time frames are kind of blending into one long kind of period of service, I feel guided to be very, very clear and very specific about what I want. And if that's how I'm feeling, that is also how the collective field will be feeling, because I'm picking up on that. We're being guided to really clarify what we are expecting to see in the world. And that, my lovely souls, is how you create your reality around you. The previous world, the confusion, the mess, the distortion of the fourth dimensional window, as we really deeply witnessed it from 2030 onwards, was an inner reflection basically heading outwards, of the internal confusion that was being felt by the people that live on this planet, who know that it is time to wake up, but have all of this stuff to clear, all of these things to deal with, and all of this murky astral connections to work through. So being clear, setting intention, being very, very fastidious about what we create, what we focus, what we tune into. And I know, again, that's a drum that I beat on a regular basis. Be careful what you focus on. Don't pick up any negative news. Don't listen to this. Be, again, very clear about your spiritual diet. What you put in your body will manifest outwards, and that doesn't just include food and drink and medicines and chemicals. It's your full spiritual diet. Again, the propaganda of the third dimension is becoming really desperate. Okay, it couldn't be more obviously desperate, as they are trying to get everybody to tune into this disaster, that disaster, the next, head rearing of medical crises that are occurring. All of these things that have been, unfortunately, are cards that have been played and can't be replayed again, because everybody's woken up to it. So as we're expecting the very best of our universe, we're of course going to be seeing these kind of this what we would almost see and regard as outrageous behaviour from the powers that were in the matrix around us, and we alchemize this with love. Okay, there's no use being angry about the actions of others at this time. It's simply a case of settling into our heart-centeredness, being connected but unaffected by the goings on around us. And sometimes that might be very difficult, especially if you're seeing things that are emotionally triggering. But again, it's our job, our responsibility to bring ourselves back to centre, to be the calm within the storm. So move through the next period. Enjoy the time that you are having off now, if you're celebrating, if you're relaxing, if you're spending time with your family, doing what you need to be doing. But as we move into the cool and crispy climes of January, well, it will hopefully be cool and crispy up here in the northern hemisphere, probably a little bit toasty in the south. As we're moving through into these energies, just be very crystal clear about what it is that you wish to create in the world. And if you're looking to suit yourself up, to empower yourself with your gifts and your talents, you are going to be required to head into the halls of Amenti to furnish yourself with your spiritual heritage. And so again, I'll just echo or re-echo the words of Serapis Bey, saying that we need to be taking ourselves out of the Akash into the halls of Amenti to really be in charge and control of retrieving what we need to retrieve for the fortification of our ascension pathway. And again, there are physical access points to the halls of Amenti, but if you really want to know how to do it easily, you move into the Soul Star chakra. And again, I have meditations on my website that cover this, that work with the Soul Star chakra. And I've probably even done it in a meditation Monday at some point during the course of this year. So have a look, check it out. But that's in the general direction of flow that we're going. But for the time being, just relax and integrate, but be focused and clear about what you want, okay? What you wish to see in the world. And when you're creating, when you're wishing for a brighter, more beautiful future, make sure that that picture is coming from the heart, not from a point of neediness. We're working with the ego, but the ego is now working for us rather than controlling us and our thoughts and our actions. So again, more important points to be taking into the new year as we flow through this energy. But for the time being, enjoy your Christmas holidays. Sending you all so much love. I'll be back next week. It won't be on Monday. I'll be back in the woods on Tuesday morning. Sending you so much love. Bye for now.